You ready?
I'm ready, dude. It's been a while since I've been here. It's gonna be a beautiful day. I'm excited.
Oh, boogie.
I haven't been able to fish for 6 months. So I'm excited to come out here and be with Jeremy and be with my buddy, catch some bass. It's gonna be fun. We got a poacher.
All right. We're going to try to catch the smallmouth below Pickwick Dam. So, let's see what we can do.
Ooh, that's a big one, dude.
So just a little recap of what we did
Double rainbow.
yesterday. It was mainly on the weedless TRD. The little dude right there. We get these Ned heads, these weedless Ned heads from David at Primary Tackle. His shop's at the S.Y. Wilson store in Arlington. It tends to get hung up a lot in the current. There's a bunch of chunk rock that, you know, pretty much anything that's moving down through there is going to get hung in. This is a little bit less. If it was an exposed hook, it'd get hung up a lot more. The only bad part, if you do get hung up and you get it loose, you're going to have to fix your bait. Don't try to keep working it in. Just reel it on in because it's going to be slid down and not fishable anymore. But it was the weedless Ned head and the jig. This is the brown recluse color and peanut butter and jelly. Putting a little zoom speed crawl on the back. I was mainly throwing the crawler, the black bass tackle crawler jig 3/4 ounce, because they were moving 40,000 cubic feet per second below the dam, which is a good bit of current.
That's a 5-pounder.
The trolling motor, I've got a 112 Ultrex, and as high as it would go, it would barely hold you still, just barely. There's a whole lot of current. And the 3/4 ounce gets down quicker and you can feel it better in the current. So you really want to go as light as you can. But in that situation, I switched back and forth between a 1/2 and a 3/4 depending on how deep I was fishing. And we were targeting 12 to 18 feet. Seemed to be where the fish were, at least when we were fishing, we were getting bit. So really the trick with fishing that current is there's 2 styles. Back before there was Ultrex and power poles, it would be a controlled drift, where you're drifting with the current, but you use the trolling motor to slow yourself down. So you're trying to troll forward into the current as the current's sweeping you back, but you just wouldn't be swept back as quickly
real big
without running the trolling motor. So fortunately with the poles, if it's about 8.5 feet of water, I can put the poles down and the poles would hold. And I can't even see the line. If not, we use the Ultrex in anchor mode, and that would hold you. You feel like you're going to burn the trolling motor up, but it hangs right on in there. It does just fine.
That was a fiasco and a half right there.
So
I got him off the power
similar to trout fishing in the current. Like if you're fishing, if you're standing there in the river and you got all that water rushing by, you know flip your bait out there and drift it down through the little current breaks. So, and you can see those because there'll be a rock and the water swirling around it, making it's like a little smooth spot with all these ripples going around it. Those are little rocks and current breaks, and I mean that's what you're looking for. So mainly we just throw out ahead into the current, and let the bait get down.
Current breaks.
And then let it drift.
Giant
and I
boat
just
through trying to kill us.
It feels to me, and I imagine it tumbling. You know, I call it tumbling the bait down through there. So it's kind of bouncing, rolling, and for me it's easier to control that bait and to feel it better, and you actually get hung up less if you're kind of parallel to it. So you got the boat into the current. What you want to fish is off the left or the right hand side, and you throw out ahead of you, let it get to the bottom,
Bring it up here.
and then just maintain contact with it as it gets back behind the boat. And I'll let it go back until I can't feel it anymore. When it gets done tumbling, you won't feel it move anymore.
Smacking this shit out of some
and you
drone,
reel it
man.
back in. So I let that water, move the bait to where the fish are at. And that worked pretty good when we were out. Same thing with the jig. Just tumbling that jig down through there and trying to feel the bottom and feel the rocks. And when you get that feel, and that all goes with the bait size, the line size, and your rod type. All these things help you, get the right feel as you're fishing in this current. So you get the right size bait, and you have the right setup and everything, and you can feel it ticking down those rocks. So you want to keep enough pressure on the bait so that you don't let it bury down into the creases, like where the rocks are all jumbled up and then get stuck down in the rocks. So it's kind of like you're teasing that bait off the bottom. So you get it where you can feel the bottom, and you lift it up a little bit, and then it'll start skipping on top of those rocks down through there, and you won't get hung up nearly as much as if you just keep your rod tip down and let it drift. So I don't just keep the rod down, I keep the rod tip up and keep the line tight, and watching my rod tip and the line and feeling that bait tick on those rocks. And if it starts getting deeper, just lower the rod tip a little bit till you start feeling ticking again. If you feel it, getting hung and grabbing, and you have to pop it, then you just lift the rod tip a little bit more till you just feel it ticking. And it'll tick down through there, and then it'll just get light, or you'll feel a tug or a bump, and then that's fish. So you don't have to stroke on them hard either in that current, because they're moving. They don't just bite and sit there. So reel and lean into them. Now for most of the time, fishing a heavy jig in a place with a whole bunch of rocks, you would want a big heavy setup. But my setup that I was using yesterday when we went out is a 7.3 heavy hammer, and it's kind of weird, but I had 15-pound sunline. Now typically around all that rocks and stuff, you want the heaviest line you could get, like 17 to 20. But the deal was trying to be as effective as possible with every cast. So that means getting the bait down, getting the bait into the strike zone quicker, and being able to feel it. So I could fish a 1/2 ounce in 15 feet of water by utilizing a little bit lighter line. And I fish a 3/4 ounce with it too. You just have to work that bait up a little more than usual because it's heavier. You gotta, keep it up out of the rocks. So depending on how swift the current was and how deep it was, you'd either throw a half or 3/4. Okay, same thing on the spinning rod. Just throwing the weedless TRD, Ned head, whatever, on a spinning rod. And this one is a Hammer 7.6 medium. Very parabolic. This is very important for fishing light line and light baits, and helps you get a hook set. You really don't have to hook them, you just have to lean into them. So it's a Power Pro 10-pound braided main line to an Alberto knot with a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. You can see here's my leader knot, there's my bait. So we got about 13, 14 feet of leader. And the more leader you've got of the smaller diameter, the quicker that bait's going to get down in the water, because the braid likes to float. The braid's restrictive, so your bait's not going to get down as quick if you have a shorter leader. And it helps when you keep breaking off, what you're going to do fishing the current, that you don't have to tie a new leader. You can just keep tying onto the bait. Once you get about a foot snipped off there from retying, then tie you a new leader. Be time to check it anyway. Okay, so here's what we were working with. These contour lines, see where this gets tight right there? There's a rock wall right down this bank, and this is kind of flat. See this slow tapering contour lines? It was about 7 feet up here and then working down into 18, 20 feet out here. As you can see on the map, this is Navionics. And the little green lines are my boat trails. So, I wanted to work in this where it starts getting tight. That means the water's moving. It's moving pretty quick right here, but as it gets closer to these tighter contour lines, it starts moving faster. So the water's, moving down through here, and it hits this bank and curls around the corner and speeds up. So we work down this area right here, making casts off to both sides, sitting, casting forward, letting the bait drift back. You get bit good, stand there, hang around. If not, I would release the spot lock and slide back about 20 yards and put the spot lock on again and keep making those casts.
What was it? What did it have to be? Well, good times. We'll come back soon, hopefully. We caught a lot of smallmouth today. Perfect conditions for it. Using the TRD, the bigger one, on a primary tackle weedless Ned head. That was the bait of choice today. That's what they wanted. So it was a good times. There's some good times.
On the Hammer
7.3 medium heavy, Shimano Corrado 7.4:1 gear ratio. Perfect setup.
Yeah, we also had a few on the jig. Most of those are gone now because of the rocks, but the old PB&J did well. And the brown recluse, black bass tackle. So we're gonna send Hunter back to Nashville, and hopefully we'll go again soon. Say bye.
See you guys.